As I told you, FedEx lost my transmission.
Pause for a second. A whole transmission FedEx lost.
I left no room for error, and I just ran out of gear. My wheel speed met my actual speed. The moment I clutch in to try to shift, the car's gonna straighten. So I came from Michigan to Jersey for this gambler event. Okay, well, I'm just gonna have to drive 8 hours round trip to go get this pulley. Otherwise, I came here for no reason. They tried to get GM to replace the whole engine. GM said no. So I have one new head, deck the other head. And I was like, dude, I mean, are y'all sure this isn't like a bent rod or something? Now I've opened a whole nother can of worms. Everybody who builds like a somewhat higher level drift car. Okay, well, I want to do it right. I want to spend the money on the things that matter, and I do not want to spend money on things I don't need.
How much is the chassis swap like actually costing you?
Oh, I try not to think about such things. Kind of where I'm at, where I'm trying to get sponsored and trying to like build a good program. Grid Life is a really good option. Midwest Fest, yeah, 20,000 people that show up, so it's a good event to have on your roster.
What's one event that you haven't gone to yet that you really want to?
I've always wanted to go to Laguna Seca.
I straight up thought the first couple videos were a video game.
They said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been.
All right, so we got this car ready to go, except this kit is really gross. I can't put this bumper back on here, especially not having a front bumper. You know what? I've got the right idea. Yo, yeah, KBD, what's going on? Yeah, so the RB25Z is literally almost ready for this coming season. I really think we need to come in hot this year. Oh, you got just what I need? Just hit the market too? That is perfect. Yeah, go ahead and send it my way. All right, so hope you enjoyed that little bit of intro. It is absolutely insane for me to be announcing this right now, but KBD is the official body kits of the Circle of Drift podcast. Round of applause. Round of applause. And the best part about it is until tomorrow, you literally have 15% off the entire site. So why you're still blowing up fiberglass body kits is beyond me when you could just go get your KBD kit for an insane deal right now. So a massive shout out to KBD for making such an incredible body kit. Now let's go ahead and get into that podcast.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift podcast on YouTube. I am Dawson, and we have back today
Andy May.
Nice to see you again. Appreciate you coming on.
Dude, thank you.
Of
really
course.
Excited.
Hell yeah. Well, of course, before we get into it, don't forget, look below the video. If that subscribe button is still red, go ahead and click that and hit the bell notification while you're at it so you never miss an episode. And I did want to announce that I will be at PRI December 7th through the 9th. So if you're there, come say hi. You're going there too, right?
That's my plan. Yeah, I already got my tickets and hotel and everything. And
Sick.
my life is in shambles always, but my plan right now is to be at
We just keep
PRI.
sweeping it back up. Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, if you're there, come say hi. I'm sure we'll be wandering around. But of course, if you do want to be on the podcast, whether you're big or small, it does not matter. Just email me at thecircleofdrift@gmail.com. And just make sure to put the subject as Drift Resume so I can keep it organized. And then if you do want to be the highlight of the outro, make a reel of your car, tag me in it. The one with the most likes at the end of the week will be the spotlight. But that's actually all I got for the intro. Sorry, that was a little long-winded. But you're going to go ahead and introduce yourself for the second time? Tell them a little bit about you.
My name is Andy May. I'm thankful to be here for a second time. I think it's been like a year. Last time I was here. I feel like it was this time of year last year, maybe. And yeah, man, I live in an RV and travel around and drift all kinds of places and have 3 kids.
Hell
so
yeah.
The whole, basically just like the country's homeless drift guy is what I've become at this point.
Glorified homeless drift person.
Yeah, glorified homeless drift guy is what I've become at this point.
Oh, that's awesome. What a fucking staple. Anyways, well, give me a rundown on like the car where it sits for this coming year.
Oh yeah, my car. So
I know there's a lot that's happened. We'll get into that part, but like, what's the state of it right now?
the state of my new car right now is I'm just kind of moving everything from my old chassis to a new chassis. Both E36s. I tried to keep it somewhat simple. The other one, my old one, is just led a very difficult life. So now it's anyway. I got a nice fresh chassis. And man, obviously, there's been so many, particularly just delays getting stuff has been the kind of the biggest challenge so far. But right now I put the engine in it yesterday, actually. So engine's in it. As I told you, FedEx lost my transmission, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah,
got a quick change in it.
That's impeccable.
Dude,
pause for a second. A transmission, a whole ass transmission FedEx lost. I hear so many nightmare stories about FedEx, but damn,
and it's in the building.
That probably tops the charts.
It's in the building. It made it to
Yeah, you said you tracked it all the way to the facility.
To me, and I just like got to that facility, and they were just like, "Yeah, it's here. We can't find it." I'm like, "It's a 120-pound lump of metal. Like it's not."
What transmission was it? It was just a BMW transmission.
It's a BMW. It's like a 6-speed BMW transmission. It's nothing like super fancy. It's just anyway. It's a big heavy thing. I don't understand. And it's there. It didn't fall off a truck in Oklahoma or something. It's like It's just there.
It's on a pallet somewhere,
I'm tempted
bro.
to like try to get
box.
a job at that FedEx facility just so I can walk around and find my transmission and then just.
I'll tell you exactly what happened to us. Someone saw that and they're like, "Damn, I need that motherfucker."
Maybe.
Let's call it lost.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh no.
I guarantee that's what someone did.
Yeah, I'm gonna start grilling people that I see.
Yeah, I'd make FedEx pay for that shit.
In there, yeah.
Heartbeat. Lawsuit, here we come, baby.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's like the cage and stuff's painted, engines in the car, quick changes in the car. Got all the wiring stuff and everything, so I have all that, and you start putting it in. So I have the drive shaft. So I'm not terribly far from just getting it running. I just need to get it running so I can drive it into the RV, and then we'll finish it up at 412 Motorsports in California.
Oh.
It's currently in Georgia. So
Jesus, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Dude. Okay. Well, I guess that branches us into your camper life. How has that been going, and has it been worth it over the last year?
Over the last year, overall, it's gone really well. And it has
That's so hard to believe.
The last summer. This summer has I feel like we went like a year to a year and a half of everything going like relatively well, but somewhat smoothly, as smoothly as it can go. And then like this summer, it's just been one thing after another.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not terribly related to the RV itself, but you know, it's towable, right? So it's a toy hauler. So you have to tow it with a truck. So the truck broke at E-Town. I think you were there, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you were there. Oh yeah, it was Riverside. Yeah, the truck broke, where it just that right after I had just put the car into the wall at E-Town, moved the shock tower over again. I don't know, dude. I have like so many long stories from the last like 3 months. I don't know. You tell me what you want to hear. I don't want to ramble on it, but
we're gonna get into all of this shit. Trust me. I've been his editor, so like I've seen it all from behind the camera lens, and I'm like, dude. Yeah. I literally told him before, sitting here editing your videos, I'm like, I think I have it hard sometimes, and then I'll edit it, and I'm like, dude, how the fuck does this even happen to someone? Like unimaginable stuff. It's crazy.
It has gotten to the point where both my wife and I are like, all right, this is getting weird.
Yeah. I don't know if we made the right decision here.
Yeah, this is getting weird.
Well, all right, so let's what were some of the things that you learned like just living in an RV throughout the year?
Oh, that's a good question. Some of the things that I've learned just living in an RV. So like outside of drifting and everything, just of being in the RV, I would say specifically that point, we've really liked it. It kind of like I have a small business in Atlanta, and I was always very busy with it as one is, and kind of getting out on the road and everything kind of forced us to kind of run that a little bit differently. So it's still going and everything, that's how we make money, but it kind of forced me into being able to have the family time that I always wanted. I kind of like started that business because I used to travel a lot for an old job, and I was like, well, I want to be around like the kids, I'm just trying to have the kids and everything. So I did that, but I was still gone all the time because I was working a lot. And because I don't know, just always get roped into doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it kind of forced us into having like the family time that I always wanted. You still have to work and stuff, but at least you're there.
Yeah.
More open. And then we got to experience a lot of things. Over the last year, we went from, Georgia down to Florida and then all the way up the East Coast, to like New Hampshire, Cape Cod, all that kind of stuff. And then out west. So we went through, Wyoming, Montana, did a lot of the, the parks and, then down the West Coast and everything. So we saw a lot. It was, beautiful parts of the country and got to experience a lot of things with the kids and stuff like that. So I'm really happy we've done it and we've really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. So we'll get to why I was stuck there, but we've been stuck in Georgia for almost 3 months. Actually, a little bit longer than that now, but we couldn't have the RV. And so we stayed in my dad's basement, which has plenty of space. And my wife and I were kind of curious to see what the kids were going to want to do. They're 7, 5, and 3. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of curious, like, are they going to want to go back into the RV, or are they going to kind of like, there's like a pool there. They're having fun being in the pool, kind of seeing some of their friends and stuff like that. So we didn't really say anything. We're kind of curious what they would do. And all 3 of them, the 3-year-old, she's just like down for whatever because she's great. But the other 2 were just like, when are we going to get back in the RV? Aww. And they were really excited to get like in it and back going. Like, well, would you want to have a house? And they were like, well, then you always see all the same things. Right? I guess
dude, rock on for that.
So that was good. That's like some, not just me, but a lot of families that live in RVs. That's some kind of internet hate you get is having your kids out there on the road. But dude, they've liked it. They really enjoed it.
Yeah. Put that in perspective. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
Dude, I look back on school and I hated high school. I hated school so much.
Yeah.
It was the dumbest shit ever. Yeah. I don't believe in school, for one. That's a whole nother story. But,
yeah, we homeschool the kids like this, but we would homeschool them if we were.
Yeah, and I mean just like anyway, the basic necessity bullshit that they think you need to learn. It's like it's not keeping up with the times.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of come to the point where our plan was to do this for a few years and then buy like a little bit of land and build a little house on it and everything. So we actually just recently bought some land in Georgia, but we were talking about, we're like, we're not even sure. Maybe we'll just sell it. Maybe we'll I don't know, maybe put a house. I don't know, but maybe
we'll cash this check on this land real quick and move on.
We've really enjoyed traveling, being in the RV and everything. So I don't know. They both have their upsides. We'll probably stop at some point, but we really like it.
So what do you usually have to come to home base for? And how often, I guess?
Not much. So, I mean, we were gone probably a year on the road. And maybe I would have to come back. I had to come back a handful of times for work-related things, either some kind of an emergency or something like that. And it just is what it is. I had to get on a plane. I had to come back. Mm-hmm. And it would just be, a few days, and I would go back out. And to me, that was a pretty small price to pay.
Oh, yeah.
For, being able to do what we're doing. But so not very much at all. The only reason we kind of looped back down to Georgia was just to see some of the family and friends. And our plans have changed like 9 times this year, partly by choice, but a lot of it not by choice.
Yeah.
So we were going to go back down there, and I have like a little space I can work and stuff, kind of close to where my little business is, so we can get a spot to work on the car and everything. So that was kind of what brought us down there, was to see the family and mess with that kind of stuff. And then we kind of got stuck there because of everything else going on. But yeah, so not terribly much. It's relatively voluntary.
Yeah. Do people ever come up to you at events and stuff and like try and pick your brain about making that lifestyle happen for them?
Yeah, they definitely do. Especially people on like Instagram and stuff will reach out to me.
What's the most common questions you get?
How do you pay for it? How do you make money? and unfortunately, I just don't have a great answer because we have a pool service business. Yeah. In Georgia, so I think everybody's expecting me to be like,
build a 6-figure business before you do it. I don't know,
like an Amazon store or whatever. Like, nah, I think all that's like kind of crap. I don't really mess with any of it. No, we just built a service business and it had people working it and stuff like that. So we were leased. Nice. So it's not a quick, easy answer.
It's not glamorized by any means. It's a very normal job.
Yeah, no, it's a very normal job. I mean, if there's any kind of advice I have for anybody, I mean, if you can do something with computers and stuff, that's ideal. Like you with editing and stuff like that, you can make money.
I've
Somewhat
contemplated doing
remotely.
it myself, and personally, I probably couldn't just because of internet. I like, dude, I have
Yeah, you have
I
some
have
pretty good
fiber
extra
here.
internet. Yeah.
My computers, I could take the computer on there, but like if my internet's shit, like
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you've seen that with
Starlink
me
is
just
what you
trying to
go
send
with.
stuff to you.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
always something.
Starlink is what you go with for something like that, but
Yeah.
like here in the South, there's like no coverage almost.
Yeah, it's not much.
horrible.
From what I've seen, a lot of people have Starlink on RVs and everything.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more common on the West Coast, I think, because there's just a lot less trees. Like they
Well,
seem to
no,
be
like
really
if you
sensitive
look
to
up the
trees,
map
too.
on Starlink's website of where it covers,
Mhm.
the South is completely just empty.
Really?
Yeah,
But
there's
they're
no
in space.
Yeah, there's satellites,
Yeah.
but there's no satellite covering
Oh,
the
it's
southern
not
region.
Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
All right. Come on, Elon.
I know, dude.
What
I
are
was
you
like,
doing,
what the
dude?
fuck?
Shoot
We just
another
get
one
cut
up
out
there.
of the picture. All right.
Yeah. All right. I see how it is. But
So okay, what do you tell these people then whenever they ask you this?
I just tell them the truth. I tell them what I do and everything, and they're always just like, "Oh, well, all right, that kind of sucks."
Yeah.
I don't know what to go with it. But as far as people like with a business or something like that, I've always really thought that it was, don't overlook. Like I said, I'm doing service industry stuff.
Yeah.
So, I've always felt like there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of money to be made for people who are younger. Just willing to get their hands dirty.
Okay.
Just like
So if
whatever
someone
it
was
is.
able to acquire like just a remote job
Mhm.
or just working for someone normal 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are, and let's say they were making around 65 grand a year,
Mhm.
would that still be like justifiable to take the camper life?
Yeah,
Because
I
I
think
don't
so.
think a lot of I don't personally know what all goes into it. Obviously, you're paying for a truck and a trailer rather than mortgage or just an RV.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, so there's so the secret to it is we have a membership. It's called Thousand Trails, so it's kind
Oh,
of
I
like
forgot about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like a timeshare kind of a thing, but
Mhm.
for RV campgrounds, and they're all over the place. There's none in Georgia, unfortunately, but there's they're all over the place.
Yeah.
So if you buy a certain membership, I don't remember exactly how much it was. You can buy them used. So we bought a used membership. They're really expensive new. I want to say we paid like $7,000
How do
for
you buy a
this
used membership? What
Oh,
the fuck?
you can buy like used timeshares and stuff. It's the same kind of thing because you own it.
Huh.
I don't know. It's weird, but anyway, you can do it. And
Okay.
yeah. So it's so we bought that, and once you have it, that means you can go from these parks to park without having to stay out and everything. You can go from one spot to another. You just have to move every like 22 days because they don't want you like living in a certain
Yeah.
spot. But
that's
for us,
fair.
that's fine. So as long as you can keep moving, and that first amount you pay, that's it. You don't ever have to
Yeah.
pay it again, and it's like $600 a year. So that's all of your living expenses from then on.
So that
as far as a place to stay.
living expenses, you mean like basically water,
Water, a
and
place to stay.
electricity.
Yeah. So if you're going to campgrounds and stuff, you're going to pay. Very, very least, maybe like $35 a night.
Okay.
That might be like a state-run place, but you're not going to have like sewer and stuff.
Yeah, and if you're having to move every month,
Yeah, and then up
35
to, and they're a lot
times.
less too. Yeah, a lot less time they want you there. So if it's like
Yeah.
a state place, it's normally like 2 weeks. And you have to get out of there.
and it's not just any RV park, I would assume.
No, it has to be in
specific
this like
branded.
Thousand Trails network.
Okay.
But I mean, they have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
Yeah, hard
So-
not to find one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's it. So that brings living expenses down significantly. So that's another way that we've been able to do the drifting and stuff like that is our living expenses went down a lot. So then the other big kind of question mark that's just like a person to person question is the RV and the truck.
Mhm.
So if you already have a truck you can tow everything with, then sweet.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to do with an RV? You're going to get like I would recommend a used one. I hate buying new ones. The way the loans and stuff are awful.
Oh, dude, I
Um,
see some of them with their frame rails twisted all to hell straight out of the factory.
Yeah. There's
That's
no like
crazy
there's RVs
to
that are
me,
better than
dude.
other ones, but none of them are awesome. As far
Yeah,
as,
they
like,
all
build quality.
fucking like leak and shit very quick.
Oh, there's another story for you later. But
Oh, fantastic.
yeah, but
We might be here a while.
oh, dude. And but yeah, so and then that's a big like financial thing, right? Is like, do you have enough cash to maybe like
Mhm.
not have a very low payment on it, or maybe get
Yeah.
a simple one? And
So
just pay
like
for it and things
compared
like
to one, like, cause yours would be more than what most people would need. I would assume, because you got 2 kids and stuff.
and I like literally take a race car and like 15 tires with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, okay.
So like your average
So like
person
let's
doesn't do that.
say there's no kids involved whatsoever, because I'm sure like you guys, if you have a fucking kid, you can factor that in yourself. But let's say if it's just you, like a couple, and they want to do exactly what you're doing, but like they want to go get an RV. What is an average cost for something like that? What they would be looking for?
I would think we should be able to get something that you get used to the size of the place you live in, right? As long as it's laid out well. So I don't think you need anything really big. I think you could probably get something like pretty nice for maybe like 30 grand.
Oh,
Or
okay.
something like that. Yeah.
They're that cheap?
Yeah.
I was expecting like 50, 60.
No. Mine is, mine was like 85. Mine would be like 85
Holy
now.
shit.
It's a 2020.
Yours is a house on
So if you were to look for
fucking
one
wheels,
like that,
though.
yeah, I mean it's huge. It's 45 feet
Yeah.
as a trailer and stuff like that.
Dude,
Because
I
all the
saw that
tow
thing in
ones are-
person for the first time. I was like, never in my life would you catch me towing this bitch down
Oh,
the road.
dude, it's like
this
that's
thing
my
is
backup.
enormous.
If none of this works out, I'm just gonna get a CDL. I have some a little bit of practice at this point. But yeah, so all the like the driving ones get really expensive. They're way more expensive than that. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I've heard a lot more nightmare stories out of the driving ones too.
They break and stuff like that. So I really like the towing ones too. And then you have the truck for transportation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so like how much would like if your truck, how much does your truck cost specifically?
How does my truck cost? My truck, I bought that truck. It was more now probably, but I bought it
Just a ballpark.
3 years ago. It's probably like a $60,000 truck, $60,000 truck.
Which I would say now that truck's probably
It's definitely more.
when you bought like the condition you bought it in is probably a $70,000 truck.
Yeah. I bought it used too, but it was only a couple years old.
Yeah.
But a diesel truck to tow, it depends on the size of the rig too. Mine's 20,000 pounds with the car in it, so I have to have a relatively newer dually to pull that and not be super phased by like winds and stuff. But so it's like the truck cost could go down if it's a more reasonable weight of a trailer. So I mean you could tow that with a
I mean, dude,
Silverado or
even
something.
then, like if you got a smaller trailer that's around 30, 40 grand, and then you have the truck that's also, I would say, well, let's just say around 60 grand. Because you could get a decent 2,500 or dually.
Yeah,
or
that would be a
whatever
nice
the fuck,
truck. Yeah.
with some mileage on it. That's still putting you at to what, 6, 7, 8, 9, under 100 grand.
Yeah. And then I mean, RVs are going to depreciate, right? But if you're renting somewhere, it's just kind of gone. So you at least have something that has some kind of a value to it. You're not going to make money off of an RV, but it has some kind of a value to it. So anyway, that's how I rationalize it in my mind.
Somewhere to park your money to, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. They're like cars. You just kind of have to dig around on certain models and stuff. Like we have a Grand Design. Those are pretty nicely made. And they really stand behind them. The manufacturers do if you ever have issues and stuff. So we like those, but yeah, you just kind of have to shop around for different brands and stuff. And they're just like cars. I mean, just like you could buy a Toyota, you buy a 4Runner, it's not going to depreciate a lot. You buy, a whatever.
Okay.
Bentley or something like that. It's going to be.
Dude, that just seems so cheap to do. Like, so, okay, so if someone did have that $60,000 a year job, that's probably very feasible. I wouldn't suggest going in extreme debt.
No,
doing
no,
that,
yeah,
but make sure you have
definitely don't
healthy
do that.
down payments and stuff. But
yeah, that's why I hesitate to like tell people a lot of it because it's just so specific to each person. But I think it ends up being a little bit less than you might expect. And the thing that helps make it all make sense is if you can continually be on the road.
Yeah,
and
if
be
you're
in
about
each
that
place
life,
around 20 days or so per spot, then that's going to bring your cost down a lot because you can do one of those memberships or something, and then you have no water, no electricity.
Yeah.
And then your only expenses.
What's
any
one
payments you might have on something, and then fuel.
that's fair.
Yeah.
What's one detail that like most people you never even thought of getting into this?
The most, I kind of sort of thought of it, but I'd say the most difficult part of it is planning. Because a lot of people just have RVs and go places and on vacations or whatever, but also a lot of people also live full time out of RVs, a lot more than I realized.
Oh,
so like so especially in the wintertime, you're gonna be in the South, like Florida, or if you're on the West Coast, maybe like Arizona or like Southern California. There's a handful of places out there, and everybody is going south, right? So you have
shit.
to plan and book things months and months in advance, which is doable.
I would have never thought of
Yeah,
that.
it's doable. You can do
I'd
it.
have been like, let's just show up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't do that. So yeah, you have to plan it all out, and that's what has made a lot of the stuff that we've been doing really difficult. So we have problems with the truck, doing the stuff with the race car or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't technically have a place to stay here because everything we have booked is in California.
Yeah.
I should have been there a month and a half ago.
Fuck.
Yeah, so it's like, so that's the hard thing. It's totally doable, but
Yeah.
you just have to stay on top of it and do that. And thankfully, I have my wife, and she is like,
Woo.
Miss Spreadsheet. She's got it figured out. If it was me, I'd probably be sleeping in Walmart parking lots a lot more often.
Oh, y'all camped at Walmart for way too long.
Oh, dude, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess let's start off with these issues. So what was the first issue you initially dealt with? I guess with any of them, the car, the camper, the truck.
Let's start with this year. So because this year's been
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
This year's been the big one. So I would say the first big issue I had was my fault, and I crashed the car at Lanier.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. See, I've had so many things happen since then. You're like, what? Really?
This was the original one.
This is
that fucked the strut tower, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was there. That was the first round or whatever for East 10.
Yeah.
And I go out there. So I'm back in Georgia, right? And I'm around my work now. So I was like, I had to go to work in the morning. So I left and I went to work during practice. And I think I did maybe like a lap or whatever for practice. And they did kind of like an Irwindale setup where you run that wall.
Mm-hmm.
Lanier's big. My buddy looked it up. That wall is larger than OSW. When you
Fuck,
dude.
Dude.
That's a longer wall run than OSW is.
Damn.
And so you run the wall and come down, did a little Irwindale thing and kind of switch back and whatever. So I looked at it, I was like, all right, that's not that bad. So I had to go to work. And I come back. And so I go out for my first qualifying. I had my buddy Trey there helping me out. And so I take off for qualifying. It was just really awkward spacing for my car because it had, just a welded diff in it and stuff, and it's turbo. Yeah. And it was just like if I was back like another 50 feet or something, I needed fourth gear on that wall. And if I was like back, if I had a little bit more run up, I could have made it to fourth. So anyway, so I go and I initiate, and I did it, but it was a 0 because I initiated too late because I didn't do it until I was in boost, and I was just having a hard time getting the timing right on boost, right? Yeah. So I look at it, and I'm an idiot sometimes, a lot. So I'm looking at it. So I look at my buddy Trey. I was like, I'm just sit on the limiter on the wall, get ready to fix something. When I said get ready to fix something, what I meant was that sometimes the oil line on the turbo like wiggles itself a little loose if you're on the rev limiter too long. Yeah. That's what I meant. So I go out. This is totally my fault. This was stupid of me. So I go out and I just go for it, right? And I initiate, and dude, there's not that many people there. I just need to like do it. You know what I mean? I didn't need to like throw down a 98 qualifying or anything. I was just like, I'm a dummy. So I'll go up.
Let's be safe here.
I left no room for error. I was like as close to the wall as I could get, and I'm up along there, and I just ran out of gear on the wall, and the car started. My wheel speed met my actual speed.
Yep.
And as I realized it, and I'm like, the moment I clutch in to try to shift, the car's going to straighten. And I'm like trying to dial in more angle. I grab the handbrake just to try to bring the back end around.
Yeah.
None of it worked. And I dude, the front corner went into that
That's
wall.
banks, though.
Yeah.
The banks will just suck your front end back up onto the wall.
Yeah. And so anyway, I should have left myself more margin for error because I had no practice. I didn't know. I hadn't tried to run it in third gear. It's like I didn't know. So the car just straightened out, and I went into the wall probably 60, 70 miles an hour, and just moved the shock tower 6 inches over. Yeah, where it crushed the intake pipe, and it totally broke off all the front suspension and stuff.
I'll find the video somewhere. That way y'all can see that one. That was rough.
Yeah, I have some of it right after it came off the track, and I sent some pictures to the guy who built the cage, Norway Nils, up north, and I think he's in Connecticut. And dude, if I had I got anti-intrusion bars, right, foot protection, up there, and you could see it was just like a fist was the anti-intrusion bar, and all the metal was just folded around it.
Oh, dude!
I swear I would have broke my leg if I didn't have that anti-intrusion on the cage. So it was a big hit.
That's crazy.
So that was the first thing, and then I was
Shout out to that
debating,
guy.
what should I do with it? Should I get rid of it? Whatever. I decided to keep it. So I had it pulled out at Blackjack Frames in Georgia, too. They'll pull anything, man. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And they have like...
Go watch his video on that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They have this jig where they can kind of like pull it from all kinds of angles and stuff.
Mhm.
So they pulled it out, and I got the front end tubed because I totally destroyed the front.
Yeah, it was about time for that one.
Yeah, so I got the front end tubed, and so then we went up, we did some grid lifes and stuff, and that was kind of the start of it. And the car would always just have some kind of an issue from that. And I was driving grid life and stuff, and it was just start misfiring after like a few corners. So that was kind of frustrating,
What was that again?
So I think what it was, if you fast forward to the second time they erected it, E-Town, when you were there, I had I was transitioning over, and it was just feeling weird. I thought it was like a lagging issue or something like that. I thought I had an air leak, a vacuum leak somewhere. And so I went to transition during qualifying on the last outer on the figure 8, and I go to throttle, and just nothing happens. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And, so if you're not on throttle, you're just going to the wall. Yeah, it felt good until I just put my foot down, and it just didn't do anything. So I had no throttle, so I went to the wall again, and I moved the shock tower again. And
okay, hold on. Let's back up to the frame shot.
I'm sorry.
Before we get that far ahead, there's more in between too.
See, it's helpful that you know the story, but yeah, because all these things kind of go together. So
I vaguely know the story. There's so much of it.
Yes, well, another little fun side quest that we did was it had alternator went out.
Oh,
a grid life as well. So anyway, I'm like, whatever, it's an alternator. So we got, I got one figured out. I got through Advanced Auto Parts. They don't like stock a lot of the BMW stuff, but you can get it pretty easily through them. So I would just, call ahead. So I just look on a map, where am I going to be? I was like, I'm going to be wherever this was in Ohio. And so I just found it in advance, called ahead. I need this, whatever part number. And they're like, okie doke. So I get it. Yeah. And, but it didn't have the pulley. I couldn't get the pulley for some reason. Cause I went from I think it's like a 90 amp up to like a 140, I think.
Gotcha.
Because somebody was like, the guy built my engine. He was like, yeah, put a 140 in. I'm like, okie doke, I'll do that.
Sure.
So I got it. So, of course, we need a different pulley, right? It was a different offset. I didn't know that.
Always something.
I then found out that nobody has that pulley. Nobody had that pulley. No,
non-existent.
No auto parts store.
I don't know what you're talking about. Pulley.
No BMW dealer. No, I was, you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
You couldn't find one. I didn't know that, so I'm like, sweet. So we're here at a Walmart parking lot because I had planned it out. We're like, all right, it was a Walmart parking lot. I'm gonna go to the Advance. I'm gonna get the thing. I'm gonna go to Walmart. I'm gonna swap it out. And so I ended up spending like 3 days in a Walmart parking lot, and just like tent set up, hood open, all this
savage.
And so I was like, I just couldn't find it. So I ended up finding that FCP Euro had one, and so I was like, okay, and we were going to E-Town for a gambler event. I'm like, well, I'll just get it there. So I had to put the wrong pulley on it because I didn't realize they were different pulleys, right? I just took the old pulley off. On. So I'm like, I'll just fire it up and pull it on the thing. So I eventually did that, pulled it up on the trailer, and we left. We get over to E-Town. I was like, there was a shipping problem. Story of my life. There's a shipping problem. Dude. It hadn't showed up. I'm like, great. So, and it shredded just from pulling it into the trailer, it shredded the belt, right? So I'm like, well, that's not a big deal. I'm here already. I'll just get it back. And that's an easy thing to get. Belt, I guess. That's an easy thing to get. They just keep them in an auto parts store. So I went in, Vance over there, found them, got one. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm driving to Connecticut today. So I drove up, which mind you, so if you're going from E-Town up to Connecticut, that means you're going through New York City traffic. So I go through New York. I don't remember how long it took. It took an upsetting amount
with
of time.
The big ass truck.
No. Yeah, with the truck. Yeah. I dropped the family off at E-Town with the RV.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's so much effort that goes into being these places, right, man? Because we're linking them together, right? But I was at Gingerman, and then went to Northern Michigan, and now I'm in E-Town. So I came from Michigan to Jersey for this gambler event. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to drive 8 hours round trip or whatever to go get this pulley. Otherwise, I came here for no reason. So I did it.
Fuck, bro?
I did it. I go up there. It was such a pain. It was such a pain. So the guy came back out, and I swapped it out. And then what happened? Something else happened the next day.
That-
I broke my diff bolt. So I got all
fuck,
together.
I
and
forgot about that
I
one.
go out, so I'm doing the gambler event, and I go out. I did. What did I do? I think I was like driving to the track, and so I fire up and I go to drive up there, and I was like, man, that sounds kind of weird. And of course, I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, it's a drift car. It makes weird sounds.
That's always the answer. That's what it is.
And so we would drive. I was like, this doesn't feel right. So I come back in, just snap diff bolt. I'm like, cool.
Ugh.
I tried to tap it, whatever. I couldn't do it, so I had to pull the diff, and and I was able to. Fortunately had a spare bolt, so I did all that. So that wasted almost the whole day, and then it was dry when I went out, and then it rained, and then it was patchy, and then I just did like a crappy job. I hadn't driven on it, so I just didn't. It was just like you have a few of these days, you know what I mean, where you don't feel that great about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You go through all this stuff, and then you're just like,
And
dude,
life
I
just
came
keeps
all the
kicking
way
you
out
in the
here.
nuts while you falling.
Yeah, and now it's raining stuff. No, I drove like crap. I only did like 3 laps, but I just was not terribly happy with how I was driving. So I was like, oh my god. That's another thing I forgot. So then after that, it was. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm rambling.
Boing, boing.
I forgot. I
By the way,
blocked all these things out.
You kind of had to.
All coming back. So anyway, get to the end of the gambler event. Whatever. I had my issues, and it's towards the end of the day. Everybody's getting ready to leave, and we stuck around. And I'm out there, and I feel like I got the car running right. And Chris Knapp, who runs the place, comes up. And he was like, "Hey, we're gonna go out and do some laps. You want to go out there? There's not many people out there." It was like me and Denofa was still there with the Fox body, him and his wife. So she was out there driving it a bit, and a couple other people I don't remember. So I go out there and I'm like, all right, cool. And I fire the car up, and it's smoking. Right? I was like, crap.
Now
so
what?
I was like, I'm nervous about it, right? And I'm like, not. I've learned a lot recently, but I'm not a great mechanic. And so Chelsea's right there, right? So I just go over and I'm like,
what a
dude.
smart BMW guy.
Exactly.
There we go.
I'm like, I got E36 Jesus over here. Like, let me go.
The fuck am I doing
this.
thinking?
Yeah. Oh, I do. Well, you go look at this thing for a second. It's making me nervous. He was like, yeah, sure. So he comes and looks at it. Whatever. You check the oil and stuff. The oil's fine. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I don't know. He was like, once it warmed up, it started to go away. And he was like, it's probably fine. He's like, just you got it warmed up. Go drive it and see how it does. I was like, all right. So I go out there and I did like a lap, and then I see a lot of smoke go for this.
Now
thing.
that's not normal. I know that one.
That was like, I'm like, that doesn't look great. So I see a lot of smoke, and so anyway, he's right there again. And I was just like, dude, what do you think? He's like, yeah, I think he blew turbo.
Hope.
Yeah, and sure enough, I destroyed that turbo. I still don't know what happened to that turbo. I sent it back to the.
Oh, they never
I
got back to you?
From to see what it took me a while to send it off to him because I kept moving around, but
That's
I haven't heard back. I think that it was just maybe a cooling issue or something on it. So I ran some coolant lines to it on the engine now. So anyway, so I get a turbo. So we had to get something fixed on the RV. So we had this place work on it, and you have these like hydraulic arms, right, that like lift it and level it and everything. So you just push a button and it'll like beep, 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 and kind of level itself out. So a place that we had working on it had dropped it on one of those legs and it bent it. So every time you raise it, it was like, it was super annoying. So anyway, they owned up to it, but so they had made an appointment for another branch of the place up in Jersey. That happened in Georgia, but up in Jersey to fix it. So we're like, okay, well we had planned, we got to go drop the RV off there. And we had booked just an Airbnb in New York. We were going to spend whatever it is, 5 days in New York, just a little vacation. Let's go do that.
Yeah.
So we drop it off. Of course, we get there. They had no idea we were supposed to be there. Nothing's ordered. And they're just like, nah.
What the fuck, dude?
So we left it. We went. We had a good time in New York, which is great. And came back. They hadn't touched it. They hadn't touched the RV. And they're like, well, we can order it. I'm like, no, I'm just going to take it.
Yeah.
So I took it.
What shop was this?
Oh, I'm not going to say because I can't remember and I don't want to slander the wrong
That's fair.
RV place. I don't I don't remember the exact name of it. But so anyway, we're like, whatever. We called the place in Georgia and they're like, well, if you're here, just bring it to us. I'm like, okay, because it's annoying. Like it still works. It's just annoying. It makes this loud sound, but you can live with it. So in the meantime, I had ordered a new turbo, got the turbo there, and then there was another. That was right before Riverside, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
because when we pulled up, your car was sitting over by the container.
Yeah. I just parked it.
Yeah.
I mean, E-Town's one of the greatest places in the world. Thank God I had a bunch of negative things that we'll get to happen in E-Town because they're like the naps or what's up. They're so nice.
Yeah.
They're, so anyway, so Chris, he was just like, yeah, just park it by my container. I'm like, okay, cool.
Out of sight, out of mind. Just leave it over there.
So I show up with the turbo and I swapped the turbo that night. And, like everything else on a car, BMW engines are slanted, right? So I'm like, whatever, it's 4 bolts and an oil line. Right. Well, like getting to one of those 4 bolts was quite a pain because it was slanted.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, it's not that big of a deal. I swapped the turbo and then went and drove Riverside, and then Riverside is where bent a control arm. Thankfully, Andy Haley was there, and he lent me some of his spare arms.
Yeah.
And then later on, where I had no power, went into the wall, like I was saying before.
I've got a good shot of that one.
He does. You were right there. You got a solid one of me, just like
So
good. Boom,
dude. Literally, all 4 wheels came off the ground. That's what I used for your thumbnail, actually.
Oh,
on that
yeah,
video.
that's great. I'm glad. So it moved the shock tower right back to where it originally was. That wasn't nearly as hard of a hit as the linear one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think it probably just moved because it had already
Half
been
the
moved.
speed you were going.
Yeah, I'm sure it was just weak from already being moved. And I was worried to like brace it against the other shock tower. I'm like, what? Do I move both?
Yeah,
of them?
let's not tweak them
Did
both
again.
here.
Yeah. So yeah, move the shock tower back over, and I go and we get it towed back in. I'm just like, I suck. This is terrible. And so somebody came up to me, and it goes, Riverside. So Riverside's cool. You got all these FD guys and stuff there. A lot of really talented people there. And somebody came up and they're like, hey, Rome's here. I think Rome moved a shock tower here recently. You should go ask him how he pulled his out. I'm like, all right. So I went over there.
What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah, I'm like, all right. So I went over there and I was like, hey man, whatever it is, how'd you pull yours out? And he laughed at me and he was like, I didn't. He just like popped his hood, and his is also just like, dude, that car's jacked.
That car's rough, bro.
Dude,
it's so rough.
The amount of like complicated math that has to go into aligning that chassis straight. It's impressive. And he just rips, dude. He rips. So
that car gets down though.
Is beat. And so anyway, and then that's when it just kind of became this whole thing that was like, I mean, it sucks that I heard it all, but that was like a really highlighting moment in drifting to me.
Yeah.
Because you got Rome over there, him and his mechanic were there trying to help me, get it pulled out, cut the tube. It was just this whole thing. And then it ended up being this just like the whole community.
Hey, I didn't even get to be like there either. I was pissed too. I wanted to like see all of this happen.
It was
but
crazy.
I was down in the shop where you ended up coming to after the fact, helping Scott replace a slave cylinder and all this shit because he was having issues. And dude, there was so much going on that night. Yeah, everyone's car was fucked. We sat at the shop waiting for like half an hour just to use the lift.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh dude, I believe it. Yeah,
there's so many people with a fucked car.
That's a brutal place.
Yeah,
it's cool, and it's like being a figure. It's not that complicated, but yeah, it's brutal because a lot of places you don't think. I mean, obviously you think walls and stuff like that, but if you're used to driving places that have have some kind of margin for error, E-Town has no margin for error, none
whatsoever.
And it's just, so any minor mistake, you just go into a concrete
You quite
wall.
literally feel it.
and then it jacks the car up a little bit, and then it just like causes more mistakes. You just end up in the wall more and more.
You get more nervous, and you keep making more mistakes.
Yeah. It was just the wonky
revolving
going on
door
with it. But yeah, so that ended up being like probably 30 people around the car. It was Alex Yeager went and got, and that's when I found out that my truck wasn't starting. My wife went to go try the start. She was like, the truck won't start. I'm like, let's pull this car straight, and I'll deal with that later.
I don't even want to hear about the truck.
Yeah, Alex Yeager goes and get his car. We got another truck there, and we're just like pulling it back out. Yeah. We originally tried to do it with Beecham was there, and he got like this little. It's like a golf cart, but it's a little beefier than a regular golf cart. So he comes over and he hooks it up
cool
to
wheels.
it. Yeah, he comes and hooks up to it. I'm like, do you think it's enough? He's like, oh yeah, pull a bunch of cars out. I'm like, all right, cool. So it wasn't quite enough. So we got the pulleys and pulled it back straight. That's the short version of it. Pulled it back relatively straight, and then went over to the shop where we saw you. And then Rome's guy, I wish I could remember his name. Rome's guy welded it all back up because we had to cut some of the tubing and stuff to allow it to move.
Yeah,
and welded it all back up, but. Yeah, dude. So that
turned out really well after it was.
It did, man.
Done.
I took it back to the frame shop after that. It was like within an 1/8 inch.
No,
Where it was supposed to. He
dude.
didn't even pull it. He was like, I don't think.
He's like, dude, I'm not gonna mess with
He's
this.
like, I don't think it's worth it. So he just pulled it back because I had like bent in the back end a bit from just like popping the wall a little too hard. And he just pulled that back out however many times he's done that. And so anyway, so that was where I kind of decided I think I'm done with this chassis. And part of it was because that shock tower had moved. I felt like it moved really easily. That time, all four wheels went up. But I feel like that makes it a little bit.
But
more
how soft
dramatic.
of a hit? It
it
crumbled in pretty well.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep putting money in this thing and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna do it. So some time went by, and I went up to Nick Novak was there, and I talked to him a few times because he had a chassis laying around, and I kind of like lightly talked to him about it. I was like, dude, I think I might need to get that chassis from you. He was like, all right, let me know. So we go back down to Georgia. I'm following storylines. So pause that storyline. Truck doesn't start, right?
Yeah, the
truck doesn't start. So we go up, try to push the button. It's like screen's on, and the screen just dies.
Mm-hmm. What year is this too?
It's 2020.
Okay,
it's 2020, and so I start messing with it. These new trucks are like space shuttles, right? It has like 11 modules and all this kind of electronic stuff going on that's way over my head. But there were some really smart guys that tried to help me out, and it got to the point where we realized there's a big solid state fuse, like a 500 amp fuse that goes down to the starter. Okay. And go to voltmeter, and we're like, all right, let's power on one side, no power on the other side. We blew the solid state fuse. Somebody had a Power Pro. We were like, let's put Power Pro right on the starter. Try to make it start. It wouldn't start. So we're like, okay, well, maybe it's the starter. All right, well, now I'm stuck here. And it goes. So I find
one way or another. I'm stuck.
The downside to Duramaxes is there's not that, at least I haven't come across that many like aftermarket shops that deal with them.
Yeah.
Tons of Power Stroke, good many Cummins, not very many Duramax guys. Mm-hmm. So I find a Chevy dealer that has availability. They'll take it. They'll try it. Like, okie doke. So we get it towed over there. Shout out to Bobby. Lives across the street from E-Town. Chris Knapp called him. He had a dually.
Shouts out Bobby.
Yeah, he has a dually. So, it's like a huge trailer, right? So, like, you need somebody with a gooseneck hitch, and they can have, like, whatever, 5,000 pound, like, tongue weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the stupid thing. It's not tongue weight, whatever you call it in the bed. And so he comes over and he moves us kind of out of where the competition was, over in the grass by where the shop was. So we're kind of out of the way. So we're there. So we proceed to stay at E-Town for 8 days, I think. So we just lived there. It was so hot. It was so hot.
Did y'all have water hookup or anything there?
No, we did not have any water. So what we did have, there's a spigot close by. So we would go and I'd fill up like water jugs on the spigot. And my wife has like a Berkey, which is like this, it purifies water. So you put it in there. So we have drinking water. We just have to walk down to the spigot and come back. And I got like a beach wagon for the kids, right? And we got like a tote, like kind of a plastic tote, like a little storage thing. So what we did, we got that. My wife's a genius and a wonderful mother, so she gave the idea of taking that, and I would take it down, fill it up with water. It's like 105 degrees in Jersey, and so the kids are playing in the water all day in the shade and stuff because we have gas, but it's AC blows through a ton of power, right? So you can hear the generator like throttle up whenever you use more electricity. So you're going through a lot of gas, we're going through a lot of electricity, and AC goes through a lot of electricity. So we ran tried not to run the generator during the day so that we hate sleeping when it's hot.
I don't
so we could run it at night. And so we tried to keep him outside, playing in the water and everything. The next shout out is Andy Haitley. So Andy Haitley just hung out, him and his dog. And,
hell yeah.
And he just like stuck around for 3 or 4 days because he was next going to Atlanta, and he's just got a nice setup there. He just chills out in the trailer, and he just like stuck around, and he just to basically to see if he didn't have anywhere to go really then, and he just stuck around so that we could get around if we really needed to.
Yeah.
So so me and him, we go to the store or whatever like that, and he just like left his key on the
what a guy
on the trailer
Shout
on
out
the
to
tire
you,
of his
Andy.
truck. If I needed to go and get fuel or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like he had a whole issue with his truck years ago, something kind of similar where he was stranded. And so anyway, he knows what it feels like. So it's a good man, and that helped a lot, and it was Alex Yeager too. He was gone. He was like, the thing we didn't need it. And several other people who just offer You know, do you need fuel? Do you need anything? You know, somebody let me borrow their car to go down to, you know, Wawa to get, you know, whatever water or something like that. So, you know, so that was really cool. That's again where the whole community kind of comes together, and that's what makes you feel
That's drifting, man.
a lot better. It really is. And so anyway, we got the truck back, and they replaced the starter and the fuse. Spoiler alert, it was neither of those things.
Jesus.
It's an aggressive cat.
No idea what's going on out there.
And I think your cat's fighting a raccoon. So it was neither of those things. But anyway, they got the truck running. So we get it. We load up. We're supposed to go to Georgia next. We go down to Georgia, and we drop the RV off. Because remember, the other place was supposed to fix the RV, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. So now we go drop it off at the place to actually fix it, who originally broke it. So we drop it off there, and the next day, the truck doesn't start.
Yeah.
Now, this is how we end up in my dad's basement. Because we're like, okay, we'll stay with dad for like 3 days.
Oh, dude.
You know,
Forgot about that.
Play with the
So
grandkids
much.
and stuff for like 3 days. And so then now the truck breaks again.
Mhm.
It does the thing. Okay, so we have to get towed again. Over to a dealership there. And I think it took 16 weeks to get the truck back.
16
It took
weeks.
16 weeks.
What were they trying to diagnose to figure out what the fuck was going on?
Yeah, they just couldn't figure it out. I mean, they went through so many things.
Mhm.
There's actually a really good Jalopnik article on my specific situation.
No shit.
Yeah, so it's on Jalopnik. So I can send you the link, but it's so when they did the write up on it, we sent him like the whole list, you know what I mean? So it's very detailed on everything that happened in the situation, all that kind of stuff. So you can see that if you want all the details. But basically what happened was it kept blowing those fuses.
Okay.
And they couldn't figure out why. And they did things and it seemed like it would work and didn't. They have GM involved, engineers trying to find out what the heck's going on with the thing. And so third time I go to pick it up. I picked it up a few times and took it back immediately because it broke again or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I go get it and I drive it. I go to a few places, you know, like turning it on and off maybe 3 or 4 times. And then the check engine light comes on. It hesitated and then it started.
Heart sinks immediately.
Yeah, it started and the check engine light came on. I'm like, no, sir. And I did not turn it off again. I drove it straight back to the dealership. They were closed. I just like put the keys in the little drop thing with a note.
Yep.
So I was like,
remember
today,
me, motherfucker?
Not today. It left it there. And dude, 2 days after that, I get a call from the dealership. He was like, hey, we thought we fixed your truck and we were taking it out for a test drive and we heard kind of a loud bang. And now we can't get to turn over. And I was like, so when you say you can't get to turn over, do you mean like you are pushing the start button and it'll start? Or do you mean like you have a wrench on the front and you were trying to like rotate the assembly? And he was like, we're trying to rotate the assembly.
Oh, no, dude.
And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm not a great mechanic. But in my experience, you are super screwed.
Yeah.
If you can't hand rotate the assembly.
Oh, no.
He's like, we can kind of get it to move. There's a lot of resistance. I was like, oh my God. But the one upside about this was for 10 weeks before that,
yeah,
my wife has like this little 1 Series that's like her little fun car she's had forever.
Yep.
So my kids, all 3 kids, we don't have any other vehicles and crap. So we have
crammed in here like Mexicans,
you know,
baby. Let's
else.
go.
Yeah, dude. So I'm constantly having to borrow my dad's car because you only can fit them in. You know, we can't all fit in the car.
Mm.
So now we're under powertrain warranty because it's the engine, right? So at least now we have a rental car. And so that helped a lot. There's a few more weeks went by with that. And it ended up being, what the problem was it had a cracked head. So the head was cracked. It was leaking.
The whole time?
I
or
guess. I don't know. So
okay.
Earlier I had noticed the coolant light came on. And I put a little bit of coolant in it. And that was kind of it. And maybe, I don't know, a few weeks before this all started. And I think maybe it was just leaking. I mean, they've had it for 3 months at this point. It probably kept going while they had it. Because I didn't notice smoke or anything, you know, but I don't know. Maybe it did on startup and I just didn't see it. And so anyway, it was just leak coolant into the cylinders to the point that basically hydro-locked, which is what happened with them. And they tried to get GM to replace the whole engine. GM said no. So I have 1 new head. They decked the other head. And obviously got all the coolant out and stuff. And I was like, dude, I mean, are y'all sure this isn't like a bent rod or something? They're like, no, we measured everything. Everything looks good.
You said it was a crack in the block or the head?
No, the head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the head.
I was like, that wouldn't even make sense.
No, not the block. Yeah, in the head. So, yeah, so basically it was just more resistance. Or when it was trying to start, it was blowing that starter fuse. because it just had
Holy
more.
fuck.
It took more to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where we are. I've had it for 2 weeks now, and it seems to work. Excuse me. We've had it 2 weeks now, and it seems to work. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like super warm and fuzzy about it because, like I said, I have to go straight to California
Yeah.
from here to be able to keep up with my commitments. So it is. So I got to tow this thing out there.
See, I've always been one that's like, just go ahead and get the loan on a nice truck. That way you don't have to worry about it. It'll be covered under warranty, all this stuff. But like, dude, seeing what you went through and then seeing what Taylor Ray went through,
Yeah.
I was like, why the fuck would you ever want to do that?
Dude, yeah.
At this point, you just buy something that you can fucking handle.
Yeah, I don't even know, dude. Taylor Ray messaged me like, because he was there at that
He brought
event
you up on one of the
with truck.
videos.
Yeah, basically just like a random dude who just like listened to
yeah,
Taylor.
I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
what?
me.
Oh, I know who that guy is.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, he messaged me. It was the same kind of thing. He was just like, I had the same problems, whatever. He was telling me about his truck. And I was just like, dude, I don't know. And we were both like, just like, I don't know. Because it's nice to have a new truck.
Mhm.
It's good, especially if it's really heavy. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
nice to do it. But I don't know. I thought about getting a different truck, but I feel like all new trucks, they all have their complications. They all have their own little idiosyncrasies. And I don't know. I could get another one and have
Same
another
shit,
get Ford, Dodge, whatever, and have other issues with it. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I should just keep this one and maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. So.
I will say having a nice newer truck it's so much better.
It is nice. I
Because
mean,
dude,
especially
towing
that's, like,
sucks in general. So like if you can make it more comfortable, oh my god,
yeah.
it's amazing.
And that has all the cameras and stuff around it, which is nice, especially in campgrounds. Get
I'm
really
not that
tight.
bougie.
It's cameras is super tight, and the trailer's huge, right?
Yeah.
So I have to get like as much as possible
Mhm.
when I'm going around the front. So it has like a front camera. So anyway, there are things on it that are very, very nice. I don't need them, but trucks have gone up so much. I would have to like come way more money out of pocket for a less nice truck,
Yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
it's still going to have more problems. So I don't know. So I think we're just going to keep it for a while.
Come and swap.
Maybe. I don't know. My wife wants to get rid of it, and she's usually always right. So I don't know. Hopefully something doesn't happen. I don't know how she does it. It's super annoying, but she's always right about stuff she doesn't even know anything about. But
That is fucking true. I've seen it.
yeah. So anyway, so we have the truck now, and that was the whole thing with that. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on the truck, I had one more round to East 10. I debated not going to East 10 just because of like, well, I wrecked the car at Lanier, right? They do the 4 rounds, but it's 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So I zeroed the first 2 rounds because I crashed the car in qualifying, and then obviously I moved the shock tower, didn't do anything with it for the next one.
Yeah.
So like, should I even go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. So I just put it on, and like I said, I got a pool service. So I had a pool service truck that wasn't being used by one of the guys. So me and my buddy Trey got a U-Haul trailer, and we packed everything up and just
Fucking
head on up to E-Town, and broke the diff.
And as soon as we got there, we broke the diff.
Broke the diff cover. Jeremy up there, who's the man who could also weld aluminum, he welded it up. It was aluminum though, so it broke again.
Yeah, it didn't last you but like one lap.
I think I got like 2 laps or something. It was another honestly just very disheartening experience. But it's totally unrelated to the whole RV thing. It's like a lot of people go through, especially if you do competitions and stuff. We're just like, oh my gosh, this took so much to get here and so much to do it. And you're either like, I suck, or the dumb car, or I messed something up on the car. So
dude, that's just, like it's a whole nother level too, because like you hear people that are like we were just Tyler, the competition stuff like is just wailing on him, like you just can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I totally
and then
get it.
You're sitting here doing it while living in an RV with no house, a truck that's fucked, the car just keeps breaking every event it goes to. It's like, dude, that's why I say whenever I'm editing your videos, sometimes I'm just like, I really don't have it that bad. I don't know what this dude is thinking. Why is he doing this to himself?
I don't know. I'm just stubborn. So anyway, I misspoke before. So right after that event, that was when I definitely decided to switch the chassis. And like I said, I talked to Novak from Riverside. He's like, yeah, hit me up. So I did. He had this car sitting there in storage. He was going to use it for something. I forgot what he said, but he never used it. It was very, very clean chassis. Really nice cage. Totally stripped down. It
was already caged.
Yeah, a nice Chris Ward cage in it. It's really nice cage. And so anyway, so I bought it off of him and rolled it on up and put it into my little workspace up there, and I was like, I'm gonna just move everything over. So of course I got into like, well, what do I up now? Now I've opened a whole nother can of worms, right? That everybody who builds like a somewhat higher level drift car gets into of like, okay, well, I want to do it right. I want to spend the money on the things that matter, but Papa's on a budget, and I do not want to spend money on things I don't need. You know, and then so figuring out what those things are, is really tough. So I ended up I bought a used quick change off of Rich Whiteman.
Nice.
I asked him about Bulldogs, and he was like, "They're solid." He's like, "I also have Winners if you want." I was like, "All right, dude."
You're not gonna believe this.
Send it on down. So Rich helped me out with that, and then as far as kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with other things, Denof is like very helpful. I think probably with just anybody who hits him up, he just really wants to help everyone. So he was always helpful, but I was just like, should I get a fuel cell? He was like, no, you don't need a fuel cell. They're in a good spot. They're well protected. He was like, you can go all the way and not put a fuel cell in the E36.
That's crazy.
Okie doke. Not going to put a fuel cell in it. And I was like, do I do a rear radiator? I think his response was, if you need it. I'm like, well, that's not super helpful, but I guess.
What?
And so
why would anyone absolutely need that?
Yeah, I looked into it. It was a lot cheaper than I thought it was to do the rear, because it's already all cut out for a rear radiator, the chassis when I bought it. So it was a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So I'll probably do that out in California when I get out there. I'm not messing with it right now. So we'll do that. And so the engine, I didn't really touch. Besides, I water cooled that turbo, sir.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Didn't really touch the engine. The engine's been kind of turned down for the turbo at about 500 horsepower, because that's about what you can send through like a E36 M3, like a ZF transmission, and the diff. That's kind of what you can expect to send through it and not break stuff all the time.
Conservative number.
And my drivetrain, besides breaking that diff cover, was pretty reliable.
Nice.
And so now I'm going to put a E46 M3 6-speed in it.
Okay.
Whenever I get one of those. And I bought a used drive shaft to the quick change. So anyway, just be able to turn it up to what that turbo can do, which is about like 650 wheel or so. And then I'll just have Sam, 412 Motorsports, do a few different tunes for me, just so I can, I'll need 650
so dumb it down
or something.
sometimes.
You know what I mean? I'll just drive it down 4 or whatever when I need it. So I've just got, and then just getting stuff has been a pain. I just got the wiring harness. It took forever to get the
What
wiring
are the
harness.
most complicated things to get right now?
So I got pretty lucky. I got pretty lucky. I think a lot of the things were complicated for me to get. It wouldn't have been that complicated for most people. But so the quick changes are really hard to get right now. A lot of people are doing Bulldogs, because you can't get a Winners. According to Rich, knows a lot about quick changes and Winners. And
what is the issue with the Winners? Why they're just not making them?
According
right
to him, so this is secondhand information.
Yeah.
So you saw that they were breaking some. They were like blowing them up. So I guess they had like an old foundry where they built the older ones. By older, I mean like a few years ago. And then when they switched to a new one, and then that's the ones they started having issues with. Thankfully, mine's one of the old ones. But that's when they started having issues with. And now they're switching to another one, so they don't have any more issues. So there's just kind of a lapse in supply while they switch suppliers. Kind of like the Kennedy thing for a while. You know what I mean? Where so they're just switching suppliers. So it's just a bit of a lapse in getting them.
Yeah, just a little delay at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that would be one of the harder things to get, but I was able to figure it out. I have a FDF like subframe kit thingy to modify the subframe.
Okay.
So
wait for what?
For a quick change.
Oh, okay, yeah. Dude, his mounts for those are wild.
For what?
For all of his quick change mounts.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, and then the C5 one that he just came out with for for Wes, whenever he was building the first quick change front mount, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever his little title for it is.
Yeah.
How do you like that though so far? Or I guess you haven't been able to drive it.
No, I haven't driven it yet. I did learn the hard way that you have to test fit it on the diff itself before you weld it up.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know that.
Shit.
I couldn't figure out what the problem was, and eventually I was going back and forth with FDF.
Yeah.
And eventually Josiah just called me. And he was like, what are you talking about, basically? He was like, it can't be welded up. And he thought I was missing a piece, and I had the piece. I was like, I don't know. I was like, dude, I don't know. You're the engineer. I just know I'm looking at a welded quick change spring, and I don't know why it doesn't fit. It was
Wait, then what was the
anyways,
issue?
like, because you have to like, it's not perfect. The kit, so you have to like test fit it on the diff first before you weld it all up. Like the way that it looks like it goes is not necessarily the way that it goes. You have to fit on, like there's little different gaps and stuff like that. So you just have to test fit and weld it up. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I took it back down there and he cut it up, and now I know.
Sweet. Okay.
Hopefully
well, now you know.
Hopefully I don't ever have to do that again, but now I know.
Yeah. Do you have anything else FDF on the car?
No, that's the only thing.
No.
Yeah.
Have you ever contemplated going to their angle kit?
Yeah, I did think about it. I just switched to WiseFab.
Oh, okay.
And WiseFab was good, but looking back on it, maybe I should have done FDF. My biggest thing is availability.
That's one thing
think
I
all
preach
three
on
are-
compared to WiseFab, because FDF is literally right there with WiseFab as far as the structure of the angle kits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the quality's there compared, but when was the last time you talked to anyone at WiseFab?
No, like long time.
Yeah.
You can get somebody. I mean, you can get what's the name, Mike.
Yeah, but it's
you know,
like
they don't
it's just
make
not
it
common.
here. Yeah, which I'm finding kind of odd because it's very common. It's a very commonly used brand. You know,
Yeah.
it's on a bunch of stuff. I don't like it, but
What grip kit in the rear are you running?
it's not a grip kit. It's just there. It's
Or
true.
arms, whatever.
Yeah,
they
it's
are.
WiseFab.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a
Yeah.
true coilover, so it just has the different upper and lowers. It's just adjustable upper and lower arms
Gotcha.
in the
okay.
back. Yeah, the WiseFab ones. It's not the new one. It's like whatever the previous generation
Yeah,
was. But yeah, I feel BMW's got like SLR, WiseFab, and
yeah.
FDF.
So much, dude.
Yeah, and I think they're all good. They're
Yeah.
all good. They're all
Yeah.
good quality. They all work
I'm always
well.
gonna preach the FDF.
They're all
baby.
like roughly the same price.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest thing is I would have problems with availability, and I'm often not in the same spot for very long, right? So getting parts is a real pain
Mhm.
for most places because
You're up north all the time, or down the road from FDF.
yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, so I've heard FDF. I talked to Drift HQ. I should have. I don't know. So I talked to Drift HQ because I was trying to get
Good
a
people.
replacement arm, and I was like, dude, what do you have on shelves? And he was like, well, I got this and this and
Yeah.
this, and I'm like, yeah, I bet you don't always have all of them on the shelves. I like what is easily restocked, what is never hard to get.
Drift HQ
And he
stays
was
pretty
like,
stocked
FDF.
for FDF. Well, yeah, they're the distributor for the US.
Yeah. But I've had issues on other parts in the past where they're not manufacturing them quick enough.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if Drift HQ has them on the shelf, great. But if the person that's making them
Mhm.
can't give them to them, then they can't keep it on the shelf,
Yeah.
right? In the future, so you might have problems with it later on. But anyway, so he was like, FDF is usually pretty good about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I have WiseFab on it.
So WiseFab. Let's get you on FDF.
Oh no, I got the WiseFab and the spares and everything.
Oh, you're all in.
Hey, I can be talked out of it. But it's not- I can be
That's
talked
awesome.
Out of it. But yeah. So anyway, just availability. But
Yeah.
I got all WiseFab stuff on there. So
What coilovers
I
do
know.
you run on that?
feel.
Feel?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
441s.
Dude,
Got
I'll
them feeling
always say,
pretty
especially
good,
for
but-
BMWs, BC's probably the way to go.
Hmm.
And it's not just because it's a great coilover, but like Denofa knows everything about BC for BMWs.
Do they sell
it's
like
like
a kit, like
perfect.
a Denofa spec
Hmm?
or an
Dude,
E36
literally-
drift
well, I don't think
spec
it's actually on-
coilovers?
Well, it might. Let me know in the comments if it's actually on the website, but you can literally just call them up and be like, I need the Denofa spec E36 coilovers.
Oh, there you
or
go.
whatever the
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
And they'll be like, okay, gotcha.
I went with Field just to try something different because I had BC for a long time and there wasn't much
Yeah.
of a difference. And I was looking, and they had like drift spec on the website and stuff like that. And I'm like, I trust Odie. And I was like,
Yeah.
So I got the Fields.
Odie's a good guy.
Yeah, and they're pretty good. You can almost always get somebody on the phone at Feel, and I've had like questions and a bunch of random questions and stuff, and I've always had them and help
That's
me
cool.
out and stuff like that. So I like Feel.
Nice. Hell yeah. I just had a question about the car.
You know another bad thing that happened to me?
Sure,
do you
if
have a
you want
question?
to, share that.
Yeah, sure. Why
Go
not?
for it.
I don't
Let's-
know.
let's
it didn't
run into
happen
that.
to me. I don't want to feel victimized. It's not like things just happen around me. I told my wife. She was like, "No." My wife told me, "Why? What is going on?" Because like I told you, I'm trying to get my transmission. It's taken like 6 weeks for me to try to get this transmission
Yeah.
in California. Made it to Georgia. Got lost by FedEx. Gone. Can't find it. It's in the building. They just can't find it in the building.
Yeah.
So anyway. So that's like another little thing. So my wife was like, why does it seem like bad things keep happening to us?
Dude, literally.
And
yeah.
you know, my justification is just
What
like, well,
witch
we have,
did you piss off?
maybe. And we have a lot more going on than your average person. So in my head, that just like ups the chances.
Yep.
You know, maybe we
yeah.
just have like a 20% fail rate, and that's normal. We just have
What a
way
way to
more
put
things
that.
going on. So our 20% is like 50.
Our
things.
bar is just a little bit higher than everyone else, babe. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we're just like do too much, I think. So we just have like shipping stuff in from all over the place. You know, there's just a lot of failure points. But yeah, so we got the RV back, and I'm there. I'm starting messing with the car. This is recently. It's like last week, and my wife kind of looks up in the ceiling in our bedroom, and like one of the lights is a little discolored. And so she like, I'm not with her. I'm on the phone with her though. She can pull us down. She's like, oh my god, there's ants in the ceiling. Like, what do you mean ants in the ceiling?
Oh, dude, I saw your video about this.
Yeah. She's like, there's ants in the ceiling. I'm like, okay, there's ants in the ceiling. All right, I'll go. So anyway, I came home a little bit early, and I go. So the way the lights are, they're just kind of like, I don't know. They got these like little fold down arms. You can put them up in there and hold them up. So you can kind of like pull them down pretty easy. I pull it down, and sure enough, there's some ants in the ceiling. So I got a little vacuum, like you saw it. I vacuumed the ants out, and I pulled the light out all the way, and some water came out. And so there's insulation right up, and then the insulation is really wet on one side. I was like, oh wow, that's really exciting. There's a little surprise in the ceiling here. So I go up on the roof, and I found there's a hole in the. So you have like this protective membrane over like a fiberglass roof.
Okay.
So there's a hole in the membrane, and I don't know where it came from. Whatever. There were a bunch of storms. I mean, it sat for 3 months. There were a bunch of storms and stuff went through. Who knows where it came from? So anyway, so I go down, and I was like, all right, cool. So new project. While I'm trying to get this car going, you know. Side note: we were supposed to be, like I said, we were supposed to be in California a month and a half ago.
Yeah,
like, we were supposed to be at SEMA.
Just keep stacking on top of each other.
We were supposed to be at SEMA with the RV, had everything booked. Couldn't do it because I didn't have the stuff for the car. Couldn't get it moving. So anyway, and now I'm starting to get some things in, and I'm like, I feel very like pressured to get going on it, right?
Yeah.
So now I have this whole other thing. All right, cool, whatever. I have to deal with it because it's like now it's like, is there mold in here or whatever? So I cut out a little section of the ceiling, pull it down, just like water comes out from the ceiling. And
puddles.
Yeah, no, I did leave a little puddle, you know. It was probably like a cup of water that was up in there. It just came down. All the insulation's all bad. And sure enough, there's some mold up in there. It looks like we caught it fairly soon. I'm thinking it wasn't up there very long. Some of the wood's kind of soft and stuff, so I'm looking at it. So I ended up taking my wife's like, I would really like to have beadboard in the ceiling. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna rip the whole thing out. I'll just put beadboard in. So I take the whole thing out. This is not a big room. It's an RV, right?
Yeah.
It's like 2 sheets of beadboard from Home Depot. So
that's good.
Yeah, so I like cut the whole thing out. I'm trying to see how bad the damage is too, right? So I take out the wet insulation and stuff, and I'm kind of looking at it. I'm noticing the mold's going a little bit further than I thought it did. And like I said, so you have these like kind of little beams, like support beams, and they're pretty soft. Like I'm relatively handy with such things, but I don't have a lot of. I'm not sure like when you should replace it, and when you can just dry it out, And this is like a structural thing, and I don't have the experience for it. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my god, you know what? This is a lot more than I thought. We have insurance. It's like a $200 deductible.
I was
or whatever.
Gonna say, let's go to YouTube.
I'm like, let's just hit we're just gonna take it for insurance. I dropped it off for to get it fixed over insurance Thursday last week.
Okay.
So anyway, that's another thing. So now we're like,
they still got it?
Displaced. Yeah. The insurance guy's taking forever. It's just another.
Oh my god.
Yeah. The VIN number's wrong.
What the hell?
By one number. Like I think the insurance guy just typed it in like.
Oh, okay.
Off, but he has to fix it, and he won't pick up the phone. So Allstate is like, hey, we're ready to expedite this. The place that have it is like, they're like, we're ready to rock. We'll get done in a week, and I can't get. Allstate homie to pick up the phone. But anyway,
I don't think I've said "oh my god" more in another podcast.
Maybe we'll hear from him
ever.
Monday. It's only been 3 days. Minor seizure, and so anyway, we dropped out. So now we're displaced again, and my kids have been like, they love music and everything, and they've really been wanting to go to Nashville. And my wife too, so she was just like, "We're going to Nashville."
Yeah,
so they are currently in Nashville. So I stopped by here on the way up to Nashville to go see them, and we'll spend a few days because I've been working on the car. They just left me here, and so they just got an Airbnb up. So anyway, so we're kind of displaced until we figure out what we're gonna do, and I get this car running. at least, So I have help. My buddy Trey, who you've seen on the videos and stuff. He's he's a really handy dude. He's done a lot of race car stuff, so he can help me. The wiring's the most daunting thing in front of me right now, but we'll see. It should be relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
You all know
coming
I
from
hate
a guy
wiring.
who has no idea what he's talking about. So
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
it wouldn't take too much. But yeah, so anyway, we'll get it. So that's a new thing. That was exciting. Yeah.
So, dude, let's not. So how back? Not to jump off again, but back on the car. How much is the chassis swap like actually costing you?
Oh, I try not to think about such things.
How much did the chassis cost?
I think the chassis cost $6,000.
Okay.
But it's a very nice
Fully
cage
caged
and
and
it's
stuff
very
like
clean,
that,
and there was
so-
no strip work to be done in it. So
Yeah.
it was. I feel like that was fair. It wasn't an awesome deal. I think that was fair.
Saved you a lot of time.
It saved me a
Is there
ton
no
of
like
time.
insulation?
No
in it?
insulation. It is
So it's been dry iced
bare.
and all that.
Yeah, it's just down to nothing.
Yeah, I'd pay $6.
Everything's pulled out, so and it has a good cage in it and everything. So it was good. It was a pretty good deal. I think that was fair. And so engine moved that over. Quick change. Bought a quick change. It's like $4,500 for a quick change. The FDF kit's like $220.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, and then now I had 2 subframes, so I didn't have to get a subframe, and
Got to back up.
and get welded up. I got a really good deal on the transmission, wiring. Yeah, 412 Motorsports helps me out a good bit on stuff, or Sam does, Sam Megmumi. And I say his name quickly because I think I say it wrong every time. And so anyway, so I don't know, it was probably 10.
10?
Yeah, probably
That's
10
it?
grand, maybe 12 or something like that. Yeah, because I'm reusing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I got a really good deal on the transmission. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of little things. The wiring was a couple $1,000.
Damn.
Yeah,
That seems a little much.
it's not terrible. Well,
is
it's
it
a
is it body
Switch Pro.
harness?
It has it's a body harness.
Oh, okay,
and an
never
engine
mind.
harness.
That's a good
And
deal
we're
then.
switching to Audi R8 coil packs to take heat a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were switching over to those. So yeah, it's not terrible. I could have done it relatively cheaply if I just kept all my stuff, right?
Oh,
if
yeah,
I
you
just
could
put
have
my
thrown a
ZF in it,
welded
and all.
diff back in it and all this shit.
But it's just here, and I just was like I said, I just gone through these periods of,
Yeah.
especially recently, putting so
The
much.
point is
effort.
make it more reliable at this point.
Yeah, putting so much effort in being in these places and stuff like that. I'm just like done
Mhm.
with something breaking, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm it's a drift car. You're being hard on it. You're always gonna have stuff break, but I just want to like minimize it as much as possible. And then, it's like having the quick change or something. I didn't feel like a dog box was really worth it because dog boxes are $10,000 and they're lighter, but they shift faster and stuff. But I put the E36 M3 transmission in there that handles a ton of power.
Yeah.
It'll take
I
the
think it'll
power,
do
and I
just
felt
fine.
like a quick change was a much better bang for your buck, especially with a turbo car, to be able to choose your gear ratios.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm having in the back of my head linear. Like, that's on me. I crashed at linear because I'm a jerk and I did not leave any margin for error.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go hard. But if I had a way to change my gearing, I could have fixed that problem.
Yeah.
And
You wouldn't
done
have
it.
even had to think about those issues.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I know that deep down, I will not fix that part of me. I will always go. I told my wife, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn it down.
Yeah.
And then I just want to do stuff like that. She was like, you honestly are
Liar.
not capable of that.
You were liar.
She's like, I think that you think you can do that.
You give yourself way too much credit there, buddy. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's what that's always been the drivers that I've aspired to. You know what I mean? That's like what made me fall in love with drift is like I love like the Genova style and like Luke Fink
Yeah.
and
Figure it out as you
know,
go.
the Japanese guy was just like I just like the ragged edge crazy and I just like it. But man, that's really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like maybe you're right. Maybe I should bring it down
Jesus.
a little bit.
So what's the goal for this year for driving? Like what is your plan?
For the remainder of this year, or you mean next year?
No, well, next season. Sorry,
For next
2024.
season. For next season, we're gonna go keep doing grid lives. So we did several grid lives. Those are a lot of fun. So the festivals are cool. You get to have a good time. Whole family has a good time. You get to drive some cool tracks. And I feel like grid lifes, especially if you have like a like a competition car, like maybe you're not FD, you're not pro, but you're trying to like get sponsors, and it's kind of where I'm at, where I'm trying to get sponsors and trying to like build a good program and stuff. Grid life is a really good option because I mean, like Midwest Fest, you have like 20,000.
That's one of those events these companies are going to want you to be at.
Yeah, 20,000 people that show up, so that's it's a good event to have on your roster because it does good. There's a lot of media that comes out of it, and maybe you'll get to meet them and stuff out there. So I think Grid Life is really good. So we're gonna try and do all the Grid Life festivals that we can, and then we're gonna do 2 Pro-Am series depending on how they do their schedules. Yeah, I'm gonna do East 10 and then U.S. Drift Circuit in Florida.
Wow. Okay.
Although this year they put them on the same weekends.
Yeah.
So guys, please don't do that.
I was gonna say.
So if they do that, obviously
you might be biting off more than you can chew with that one.
yeah. So if they do that, obviously they can't do it. But so anyway, that's my plan is to do 2 of those because I'd like to do Pro Spec later on. And
are you gonna like follow that path to go? Like you trying to go to pro? Like
I think so. Yeah. So I would like to. I'm going to try to go do Pro Spec because honestly, I'm already traveling around a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm in a bit of a unique position of always living out of the trailer and stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't have like hotel expenses. Like me and Trey going to Jersey with a U-Haul trailer in a truck was probably like the most expensive event I've done.
That's
that I did
hilarious.
3 laps at. Because so we can make more sense and just kind of move around. Most of them are on the East Coast, especially doing Pro Spec. It's only 4 rounds, right? You got Atlanta, Jersey, St. Louis, and Utah. So Utah's kind of out there. But the rest of them, at least in my book, are in the same relative region of the country, being on this side of the coast. And then I have, my buddy Trey. I fly him out. We have like a fold-out couch. He sleeps on the couch. Maybe I'll do one more person. So I have a couple plane tickets. And, so again, my point is that my cost wouldn't really honestly be that much more.
Yeah.
To do
and I mean, plus at that point, you would be bringing on more sponsors that would cover up
exactly
the rest of the cost.
And it just looks good on a basically a proposal. I think that it gives you good. And I just want to drive with those guys. I think it's really cool, and that's what I like. It's aspired to. I've been following FD since its first year and drifting like just before FD existed when I was a kid, and I just always want to be a race car driver.
Yeah,
I just always want to be a race car. So that's what I want to do. It's like I do the social media and stuff. I send like stuff out to you and everything, but it's like I don't want to be an influencer.
Yeah, and
I just want to drive race cars, dude.
The funny thing is like most people don't want to be an influencer, but in order to get those big deal sponsorships, you have to. There's no other way.
It's a lot of work, and I think there's a side of it. There's a side of it that I enjoy. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that we've gotten video and stuff of just our experience. And then you have it. You know what I mean? If something comes of it, great. If it doesn't, you have these experiences that you've been able to keep, and you know what I mean. So I think that's really cool. And I like business. I like doing small business stuff. So I enjoy the marketing side of it, and I've kind of realized that's what you are as a race team. You're just a small marketing
you're just
company that you're
really good billboard.
You're trying to work around car stuff, and so I like the business side of it. So it's I've been trying to learn over the last year or so exactly how it all works. It's like I know pools. I understand I understand what the market is. I understand all that kind of stuff. So I don't understand racing. So I'm trying to learn. So any companies and stuff that I've talked to, I've had not a ton, but a fair amount of conversations. I don't expect I'm not Adam LZ. I don't expect them to give me a bunch of free tires or something like that. But just having conversations of like what's important to them, and things like that are really helpful because you're going to get different answers
to ask, man.
From different companies.
What's your goal this year?
Yeah, you're going to get different answers from different companies. Yeah, you never know. I used to do like event marketing for car companies.
Nice.
Back in the day, and I remember one of the marketing agencies that I worked with, they had a poster up on the wall when you walked in the office that said "Marketing is just drinking and guessing." Yeah, so it's like that's what it is at the end of it,
dude.
It's and that's if you talk to it seems like if you talk to a company that they're like, okay, well, if we give you X amount of money or X amount of this and say tires or something, well, we're gonna want to see a return on at least that amount the following year. The chances of you being able to do that very, very low, especially if it's tires and drifting and stuff like that. But if their goal is we want to be associated with drifting, it's the right demographic that we want to be seeing, then they know they're not going to get the money back. They're spending the money on basically being associated in an authentic way with a thing, you know what I mean? So then it's totally worth it. But if they're like, yeah, we'll give you $20,000 in tires as long as you make sure you make us $30,000, chances of me selling $30,000 worth of like
how are you going to track that for one?
Are not going to be it, you know? You know, or if that's their metric. So anyway, so it just is interesting. So I'm just trying to learn, figure that kind of stuff out. And I kind of like that side of it. So
hell yeah. Well, cool.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Nah, I don't think any of us do. We're all just kind of like winging it as we go. But are you gonna make like you know how you made last year the whole event list and published it online? Are you gonna do that same thing this year?
I think so. Yeah. So that is all my wife Elena did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. She is like she's the mastermind. Behind it. Yeah. So
that's a killer list. That thing popped off a little bit.
It did.
Just by posting the list.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's really helpful to people. You know, she gets. If somebody's not on that list, you're way too hard to find. and then once we get the list posted of all the stuff she could find or we could find, we'll get a bunch of other organizations and maybe ones we don't know, or maybe they should just do a few events a year or something like that. They'll reach out to us and let us know, and then we'll add them.
Dude, that's so sick.
To the list. There's so many drift events throughout the year across the country. You know, that would cut down the list so much that I bet it would be hard to get a hold of a lot of them too. You know what I mean? So she knows where to look, and we'll really dig into it and just add them to the list. So if we were waiting on people to be like, you know, give me $20 or whatever to put on the list, it would probably not be that helpful of a list if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're going to put it up.
That's my marketing brain just spinning.
We'll figure it out.
Oh, well.
So if you would like to sponsor the 2024 drift event list, let us know. Red Bull has been in contact with us.
Where the fuck did I get that?
What?
Oh, that's not even the right picture. What the fuck?
Is it a question you have?
That's from the wrong.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, that one's already been covered anyways.
Perfect.
All right. Well, let's just give like what is your last piece of advice to anyone that's just wanting to do that?
Do what? Live in a trailer?
The RV lifestyle.
Live in an RV and travel around.
Yeah. The psychotic RV lifestyle.
Oh man, a piece of advice. I think that 1,000 Trails thing I was telling you about is kind of a game changer. If you're going to live on the road, whether it's, you know, drifting or not, that's kind of a game changer as long as you can keep moving. As far as like, if you want to do what I'm doing with the drift car and everything, how could I have made my life easier over the last while? Yeah. So I think a lot of it comes down to, your abilities. You know, one part of it would be, so obviously I have the family, right? So my RV is much more home than it is race car trailer. Yeah. You know, we have like a little play kitchen, and I got 3 girls.
Home first, race car
it's
second.
all, you know what I mean? So I have like one lift of tires and whatever tools that will fit in my truck's toolbox.
Oh.
And a jack, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I have. So I'm like bare bones.
Think about that. You should get
all
a
the
camper,
time.
like grandpa topper for that thing.
The
truck.
Well, the bed goes in it. I mean, is a gooseneck hitch.
Oh, fucking duh.
Yeah, but
damn.
So anyway, so if you have, there's like other trailers and stuff that would be better. Like I think it's ATC is who makes them. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's called ATC. So they're you know, you can live out of those and stuff, but they're more race car trailer than they are.
Yeah, like literally shaped
more
like a race car trailer with a section in the front.
Utilitarian looking and stuff like that. But they have a bedroom and everything. So that would make it a lot easier for drifting. Yeah. Because if I was able to carry more spare parts and stuff like that. Yeah, honestly, dude, the main thing that's made it possible is just drifting community. Yeah. You know, you just kind of rely on people not giving you stuff, but just being there. You know what I mean? And having advice, or if I need like a place to go, they're like, yeah, this shop or something. Or I haven't had to do it yet, but I've had so many people like, yeah, I have some space at my house. If you ever need to just park the RV somewhere, you can park it there.
That's so cool.
You know, so just having the community has been
Yeah.
a real game changer. Anybody would have that.
Yeah.
Go to do it. So
Can't be a stick in the mud if you're gonna do it. That's probably
no, I think that's one of the top things for drifting in general. So you gotta get out there and talk to people. You know, we're all like kind of crazy. So you have one crazy.
It's hard for me. I'm so fucking introverted in person.
Yeah, I mean, you like getting to where you're just talking to a microphone for, you know, hopefully for a living.
I'm with a camera and one other person.
Yeah.
I'm in fucking public and there's everyone around. I'm like, I just start people watching, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so I would say just pick the trailer that's best for you, keeping in mind of spare things and stuff like that, and then that 1,000 trails.
Sick.
I think as far as living on the road, that's the biggest one.
1,000 trails, I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
I would say from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
What's one event that you haven't gone to yet around the country that you really want to?
Oh, that I haven't gone to that I really want to. I did not go.
I got one more after this, and that's it.
All right, so there's two of them. There's one that I was definitely going to go to, and I was booked for, was Noko's Bash. And
okay, yeah.
Yeah, where's that? New Mexico, I think. So anyway, that's supposed to be a really good time, and a car just wasn't ready, so I didn't get to go.
That's fair.
So that's a bummer. I was going to go to that.
Laguna,
the one that just killed me was Laguna.
Oh, dude!
Because the moment I saw that come up,
so surreal
on GridLife's thing website early in the year, I lost my mind, man. I've always wanted to go to Laguna Seca.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my god, you could drift Laguna Seca? That's so sick.
Yeah, dude. Literally, the first like 2 or 3 reels I saw, it was everyone with an Insta360 camera on the very back, so it straight up looked like a video game. And I was like, okay, this is cool sim driving.
Yeah.
I'm watching it on a phone, so I can't really see like the actual pixels to tell if it's real or not. It all is shrunk down. I straight up thought the first couple videos were a video game, like someone sim driving.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like a fantasy thing.
Yeah, it's crazy
to be there. Man, I saw that come up on their website, and I lost my mind. I was so excited. And the way GridLife, at least in my experience last year, the way GridLife works, you have to get approved, right? So you get approved, but then you're like in their system, and so you can go ahead and start registering for stuff as it comes up. Yeah. So anyway, I saw that, and then after some time went by, I was like, man, why isn't it letting me get on for Laguna? And then I realized they changed it to invite only.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh no, nobody knows me.
I'm telling nobody. Fuck,
and, dude. Yeah, so that really bummed me out because I had been looking forward to that all year long, and we had like basically planned our year around going to Laguna, and I tried to ask it, I could never get a hold of anybody. Yeah, but it was just is what it is. So anyway, so that was a bummer. I would love to do Laguna Seca. It's a little less.
I'm gonna peer pressure you, Nick, next year.
Like I might not have been able to do it anyway. Because because it was like an invite only, but dude, so next year, I mean, I really one more time really want to do Laguna Seca. Another one that I would like to do that I haven't done is Drifters of December. Okay. And Summit Point. I like Summit Point. They have a bunch of different tracks, and they do. I think it's just once a year what they'll have. You can drift all the tracks.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
It's in December, so. Drifters of December, so I would like to do that.
Sounds like the worst month to do that.
It does seem like the worst month, but I would still like to go.
By all means.
But you know what? If it snows, it adds to the experience, right?
Yeah, I guess we're going ice drifting today. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never done that. It seems like a good time.
And then the last question, do you ever plan on going outside of country with the camper? Like Canada or anything like that?
With the camper? Yeah. I mean, maybe Canada. I mean, Canada is not that much of a commitment. You know, we went to Buffalo. We basically walked into Canada. Why not? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Canada. I would like to try some different places in Canada. I would really, really like to go overseas. I don't know how to figure that out. But dude, I've looked it up, and it's like obviously we travel a lot doing this, but my wife and I used to travel a lot. Some with the kids and some before the kids, and we would spend like months in different countries and Asia and Europe and stuff like that. And so, and my wife's a huge travel person, so she really is going to go a little crazy if we keep doing all the drifting and she doesn't get to go out of the country. So I think it'd be really cool to go and do the same kind of thing I've been doing and experience drifting in different places. Yeah, and there's like a whole culture all over. You know, like I didn't know Portugal.
Dude, Portugal. I don't even have a passport. Tracks. Never been out of the country. Oh, I need to so bad.
It'd be so cool. So I'd like.
I've actually contemplated doing like if I could somehow get Samit or someone in Japan to do this with me, it would be perfect. I've been talking to Samit about doing a podcast with him. So, but like, just my idea is a Japan tour for like 2 weeks, which would end up being like 2 months for content purposes.
That's cool.
So like going up there for, let's say, Spring Matsuri. So not only getting a car, creating driving content and stuff like that, which I know that doesn't always hit the best on YouTube, but on top of that, having Samit or someone like that speaks Japanese to come along with me being a co-host on the podcast that I do while I'm in Japan.
That would be
so
cool.
that I could have Japanese speaking drivers on the podcast. When the fuck have you ever seen anything like that on YouTube?
Oh, yeah, dude. That would be amazing. That would be super cool. Should do
it. You guys let me know in the comments if that's something you would want to see.
Come on, guys. Share the video. You know, we got to.
If you want it to happen, go fucking comment Circle Adrift on Link ECU, fucking Enjuku Racing, all these companies so that I can get some sponsorship money to do that.
You know what's not cheap?
Fucking expensive.
We gotta,
dude, yeah, no. I budgeted it out the other day and it's at like, without shipping parts to Japan for the car, I'm at like 22 grand already.
Oh, yeah.
It's absurd, bro.
I would like to go out there, but it's just gotten so expensive to get a car and stuff like that. But
yeah. All right. Well, I guess let's land on the best piece of advice you got for anyone just getting into drifting.
You make me so nervous with this question.
Why?
Because
it's every podcast. Why is any
I know
guest
it's every
podcast,
but there's not enough answers to it, dude.
Mr. Kiss Method.
Man. I was thinking about. I was like, oh man, I gotta see something really clever, and I don't have anything clever to say. But it's. I think it's just a community part of it. I feel like somebody has said this before. I don't remember who it was, but if you're really new to drifting, and you show up, just go talk to people. You know, and it's like you said, even if you're a little introverted. You know, just go and talk to people. If somebody sees, or maybe they're doing well, or it's a car you like, or something like that, because it'll help you really skip ahead in knowledge. You know, and you can learn a lot of different things. You know, nobody knows everything. There's a lot of opinions, right, in drifting.
Yeah.
But you can learn. Everybody has something you can probably learn from. So you can just go talk to people, even if you don't want to.
Expectation and attitude.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, you know, obviously the whole simple thing, but I think if you just go out there and you talk to people, I mean, they're all going to tell you that anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, but go out there, go talk to people. That's part of the experience.
Awesome. Well, that's good advice.
Nice.
I know you said it wasn't going to be great.
Yeah, it's not great. I'll stand by it though. I'll take it. You know?
Yeah. I stand by my truth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. This was awesome,
dude. I appreciate it. I just want to say you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
This is a lot of work that you're putting in that I think a lot of people don't realize. This is like
dude,
2 full-time jobs you're doing to be able to pull this kind of stuff off. And people have like this content and this kind of like sense of community coming from it. And I know you probably don't see a whole lot of benefits from it just yet.
Well, I mean, I feel it. I feel it. I see it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, I do sometimes wish I had that outsider perspective of what the podcast is.
Yeah. So you're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well done,
I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course, anytime. I'm sure I'll have you on again next year.
All right. I'll be around probably.
Oh, catch up on that camper life again.
Yeah. Maybe
all right.
You'll be flying in from Lisbon. I don't know. Who knows?
All over the damn place.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for this one. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you want to subscribe, that'd be fucking amazing. So look below the video. If that button's still red, go ahead and click it and hit that bell notification. Did you have anyone to plug or anything?
I do, yeah. So I've had some help this year that has been a really big deal. So we picked up a few sponsors.
Yeah, drop them.
Dude, Advance Auto, awesome. Like I said, we can get pretty much anything we need. If it's not stocked, they'll get it, right? You know, so you can just call ahead and get stuff. So that's been a really big deal. They kind of took a chance on going with us, so they're awesome. MR Auto Body down in Gainesville, Michelle. So I got a used body kit, right? Or rear, like the Big Duck Club, like the whole, not the overfend. I don't, you know what I mean? Where you cut the whole back end of the car off. Anyway, I can't think of the term, but I bought those used, and I reused my old front Big Duck Club over fenders, the ones that I put into a wall twice. Dude, he fixed those. They are perfect.
Nice.
The old car was white.
Dude, that's the one thing about fiberglass. I will say, it's once you get it it's easy to fix. It's just annoying.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're anywhere near Gainesville, Georgia, MR Auto Body, because that guy fixed it and it looks perfect. Painted
What a
totally different
madman.
color, fixed it. Chase bays and tire stacks, man. Tire stacks putting up with
Nice.
my crap for the last year of, I need 15 tires at this spot, but if they're going to show up after this date, send them to this spot. Thank you, Frank. You're the best. You always figure it out, and you're always so patient with me. So
I don't know how you do it.
yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. You see these companies, like whether they sponsored me or you see them sponsoring other people in drifting, man, go use them because it shows them that drifting is a thing that matters and a thing that they should put time and energy into. So support companies, whoever they are, that support drifting. Is all I have to say about
Yes.
that. And then obviously,
especially at your grassroots level that you yourself are in.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially local people. You know, that's a big one. Yeah, and then obviously my wife and my kids that are just like supportive beyond belief.
Yeah.
On all of this, and there's like 1,000 people who have been awesome to me over the last year, and I could never name them all, but thank you to everybody. And that's all I have to say. I'm going to shut up now. I keep talking.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
We say thanks to the people that we appreciate. So, all right, well, that's literally all we got. So, if you want to be the spotlight of the outro, remember you can tag me in your reel on Instagram and the one with the most likes at the end of the week. But that's all. So, see you each week, every Sunday for a new episode. Peace.
Goodbye.
Oh man.
Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights